Hello, everyone, and welcome to the August edition of the Virtual Java User Group. I see a load of you already commenting in the chats and saying where you are in the world. So it's so awesome to see everyone tuning in from literally all four corners. If you haven't already, please share where you're dialing in from in the chat. I would love to know where you are calling in from. But for those of you who don't know me, my name is Sam. I am one of the humans that works behind the scenes to help make VJUG possible. And I want to give you all a warm welcome, whether you're brand new and you're joining us for the very first time or you're a seasoned veteran. It's always great to see your faces. For those of you who are new here and not sure exactly what the VJUG is all about, we're an inclusive community designed to bring all of you together, regardless of where you are in the world. So if you don't have a local Java user group, or you do, but you're just looking for even more amazing content, then VJUG is definitely for you. Now, if you haven't already, please actually go on join our Slack community. That's where we chat and get to know each other. We ask questions when virtual sessions aren't happening, as well as sessions, questions that we're giving today. We'll get those over to Shah. You can also put them in the YouTube comments as well, and we can get them to him. So please join the Slack. That's the best way to interact and keep up to date with upcoming sessions, cool giveaways, pretty much everything that we do. We also would love to hear your feedback. So for any of you who want to join us on X or Twitter, we're at Virtual Jug, and on LinkedIn, you can find us searching for Virtual Java User Group for any updates. But one more thing from me before I hand over the session to the real stars of the show. We are very lucky that the amazing team from DevOps Morocco are actually giving away one free ticket to their event in October. So if any of you want to win a ticket to DevOps Morocco, all you need to do is comment in the YouTube chat hashtag DevOpsMA, and that'll automatically enter you into a draw to win a ticket. And then at the end of the session, we'll do a live draw and you will be able to know whether you've won that ticket or not. So if you'd like to go to DevOps Morocco and grab yourself a free ticket, please pop that hashtag in the comments and we will get you into the draw to hopefully win a ticket to such an awesome event. But that is enough from me. I am not the star of the show today, so let's remove that. And let's add our awesome host, Baruch, to the channel. Hi, how are you?
Hey, Sam. Thank you for having me. Great to be back at Virtual Jug. It's been a while. I'm excited to host one of the most prominent personalities in the Java world for multiple reasons. One of them is that he has the unfair advantage of working for the company behind Java. But not only that, just working for Oracle doesn't give people the credit that we give to our particular guest tonight. He's also an absolutely awesome human being that developer relations is, I would say, a perfect fit for whoever he is, and he does a lot of that. A lot of love for Java and for Java community, which is not taken for granted. And please welcome Sharat Chander. Sharat.
Hey. How are you? Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, so official introduction, Senior Director, Product Management and Development Engagement at Oracle, but this is all lawyer speak. It's like love for Java and Java community. That's what you do.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of titles, Baruch, as you know, and many of you in the who are just joining online. Some of you who I know intimately, some of you casually, some I'm hoping to get to know much more closely, either from today's VJUG broadcast or downstream. At the end of the day, I'm here for the community. I have been for almost 20. I'm going to date myself now, 25 years plus. And that's just really what it's all about, is the people. And Java is sort of like that binding glue that connects us, which, by the way, before I forget, because you are so kind with your welcoming words for me, I have to reciprocate, and I reciprocate authentically here. Folks, if you are not following Baruch, please follow him, whether it's on, can I say Twitter still?
I still say Twitter still.
All right, X, Twitter. Follow him on Twitter. Follow him on X. Follow him on whatever social platforms he's also utilizing. He's also reflective of why we're here. It's about people and community and moving Java forward together. So my applause to you as well.
Thank you. And speaking about moving Java forward together, that's a perfect segue. That's the title of today's session. And I mean, let's talk a little bit about the format. So theoretically, like by definition, it's a talk, right? It's a session, it's a presentation. You have slides. You're going to talk to us about moving Java forward. But knowing you, it should really be a conversation.
Yeah.
Right. So, folks, whoever is watching, let's make it a conversation. As Sam mentioned, your questions and comments are welcome in our Slack and in YouTube. And I will shamelessly interrupt Shar with those questions and comments to make this session more engaging, more interactive between all of us. And here, Ian just did that. Thank you very much. And with that, I think we have an hour, but there is a lot of ground to cover, both in the content and hopefully in the conversation. Shar, take it away.
Sure. Are the slides being broadcast right now by chance?
Yes, they are. We just need to do this.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, no, that's I don't see the slides. Here you go. Now I see the slides.
Awesome. Right.
And I need to put you instead of me right here. Oh, okay. I know what to do. Here we go.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you so much. And which, by the way, I'm looking at people who are now joining, and I'm seeing many countries from Brazil to Malaysia to India to the US to Canada and others. Thank you for joining from all corners of the world today. That's one of the beauties of the virtual JUG is we can connect remotely into community conversations like this. But also remember, you can also connect locally. So as a member of virtual JUGs, you probably also have a local Java user group in your backyard. Try to make those face-to-face meetings. Those are just as equally important as this virtual experience. I will say this, I didn't see anyone from the island of Java join. Maybe one day we can find someone there to join and celebrate the Java conversation with us. It's kind of daunting. Coming up next year in 2025, we'll be celebrating 30 years of Java. That might sound like a long time, but for me, it's a blink of an eye. To see how much has transpired in the 30 years that Java has been around is humbling. It continues to be an important choice for enterprises, and that's the last time I'm going to use the word enterprise, because for me, Java is all about developers. It's about productivity. It's about interesting use cases. It's about best practices. It's about doing things that are inspiring, that can power a world in a thoughtful way. We just released Java 22 back in March. We'll have Java 23 coming out very shortly here in September. And so there just continues to be a great deal of momentum, whether you're starting off your Java journey, you're sort of intermediate, or you're at the expert level. We have a very large ecosystem. And so why is that important? Now, I would love to talk about how all of us can enable this future success of Java that we've built on for the past 30 years. And we will get into that discussion. But for many of you, it's important to understand how we move forward with Java. How do we evolve? What is Oracle, the Java team at Oracle doing? Because there's such a large landscape for us to take account of. In 30 years, almost 10 million developers, tens of thousands of organizations. I was about to say enterprise. Oop, I just said enterprise. Relying on Java. We want Java to continue to be innovative, but also be thoughtful that many of you have investments that you've made over the years that we just want to continue to work just out of the box. And so we look at hardware architectures that continue to change. We look at chip architectures that continue to change. the way we deploy, whether we automate it or have our own preferred methods in terms of deployment and then updating, that continues to evolve. We need to factor all of those decisions in as we shape and design Java for today and for the future. And so it might be easy to look at the shiny thing that's on the cusp or on the horizon and say, that's what we need to target. But we want to do that in a thoughtful way, because when we introduce features, those are long lasting. We want to make sure that they are stable, that they will have value, not just today, but for the next 30 years as the platform continues to evolve. And so in many ways, we observe the landscape, we look at what's happening with other languages and platforms, and we have this opportunity, as we call it, the last leader advantage, in that we have such a stable ecosystem that we don't want to just inject something new because it's new. We want it to be new and innovative, but also helpful without it being hurtful. And so these are oftentimes, the scales can tilt one way or the other, and that also puts a target on our back, because sometimes the ecosystem may want us to move slower, sometimes they may want us to move faster, and we need to balance all of that. And so that's why your voice matters. That's why the community matters. We need to be paying attention to what the needs of the ecosystem are. And so we do that by staying true to things that have made Java successful for 30 years. Trust, innovation, and predictability have been the hallmark over the past 30 years that have given Java such vibrancy. Trust that what we say that we will deliver, we will do that. We want to ensure that our innovation pipeline stays robust. And we also want to have this notion of predictability. Many of you might recall years where we weren't able to deliver Java as consistently as we do now. The one thing as developers that we enjoy is knowing when something is going to happen. And the fact that you can rely on Java innovation to be incrementally delivered twice a year allows you to be agile, allows you to absorb incremental innovation much more rapidly than, the multi-release model when we had, was Java coming out every 2 years? Was Java coming out every 3 years? Who knew? So predictability is sort of core to our three tenets. But from an engineering side, from a development side, those tenets also hold true in terms of our community. Java's been foundationally the hallmark of what technology and open source solutions can be. We want Java to be as open and participatory as possible. And so when we say trust, innovation, predictability from a community standpoint, we want to build our trust on the opportunity that our circle of developers can continue to grow. Java is inclusive, not exclusive. We want to be innovative in thinking about, well, with 10 million plus developers, we need to consider all the various modalities in terms of outreach. And this can sometimes be a friction point, but it's also an opportunity as well. We need to thoughtfully build programs and channels that connect with you. And we all have our own formats, whether that's digital or written or print or in person. We need to balance all of those vectors in terms of how we connect with you. And then predictability is, in terms of community, is literally just showing up. There's an authenticity when you see individuals and not just the company. We represent the Java team at Oracle. You need to see us. You need to understand that we are accessible, not just to give you updates on what's happening, but to listen thoughtfully to what you want in terms of our future directions. And so, there's a lot of foundational programs that continue to be core in terms of how we connect with all of you. The virtual JUG is one dimension. There's over 400 Java user groups on the planet and growing. I would love to see a Java user group in Antarctica. Maybe we can think about that at some point. I don't know.
We should do the cruise like we did. Like there was a Java conference on the cruise between Finland and Stockholm going to JFocus. We need to do a cruise to Antarctica with a Java conference on it.
As long as you have a warm down jacket for me, I'm all for that, for sure. But going back to the power of user groups, this is the place where you can connect and understand what the opportunities, but also the challenges are. You're not in isolation. And that's why user groups, at least for me, is one of the fundamental roots of the success of Java, because it's a place where you can share your concerns, your fears, your ideas, your questions transparently and without judgment. And that's important because over time, leadership changes. Baruch, for example, has moved to a location where a user group was, sort of waning because people's lives changes and new leaders need to come in, and he's embraced his local Java user group. This is where you can collaborate in terms of peer-to-peer connections. Another place, of course, is OpenJDK. We'll get into a little bit of the value of that. You have almost coming up 400 Java champions, luminaries that talk authentically about the successes around Java in a trusted and unbiased format. You just have a very rich collection of individuals to tap into. And it's important that we continue to water the roots in these programs that then become foundational to new programs and channels that we are delivering. And so, OpenJDK, sometimes, and some of you know this, like, there's oftentimes a question, where does the magic happen around the technical innovation around Java? And it's literally through the OpenJDK project. There is no secret sauce. There's nothing hidden in our sleeves. We do all of our development transparently, and you have the chance to participate. There is a collection of innovative projects that are continuing to happen at OpenJDK that is sort of the tip of the spear in terms of the direction we're taking with where we're moving Java forward. You can subscribe to those mailing lists. You can see the code check-ins. You can see the design decisions that are happening in terms of what we are choosing to do, or more importantly, why we haven't done something. It's sometimes important to get out of our comfort zone of just focusing on the task at hand and seeing why something is done versus what is being done. And so I'd encourage all of you, if you're not participating in OpenJDK, to at least visit openjdk.org, find the projects that align with your development interest or the work that you're currently doing, and sign up for the mailing list to stay abreast of where we're going. And of course, we also have a developer's guide. So things like, if I want to file a bug, if I want to roll my own version of my own JDK, how do I take advantage of participation, for example? If I want to go beyond just reading mailing lists, what if I want to author something or commit something or start and sponsor a specific project? We want that level of participation. It's important that you understand that we're not doing this in isolation. We're doing this with you, the community, to drive the platform and the language forward. Some of you have also talked about, well, it's great that you have all of this innovation, how to provide feedback. And as you've seen in many of our releases, we have different features that sometimes are in preview or in incubation mode. This is your chance to give us feedback. You might recall previous versions of Java where once the release came out, that was literally your first time seeing what was in the release. And so the fact that you can give us input before something becomes final ensures that your voice is captured as we design things. And granted, we have a great and tremendous amount of talent on the engineering team here in the Java organization in terms of what they are doing in terms of that technical advancement. But your voices collectively make that expertise much more robust. And so we need your feedback as we roll out some of these new features. I'm very particular about tools. And so, as much as there's language innovations, platform innovations, tools, it makes us accelerate our productivity. We continue to roll out new tools in the JDK. Some of my more preferred tools are the ones mentioned here from previous releases. One of my absolute favorites is JLink because it allows you to streamline your build in terms of what the necessary modules are, in terms of what you need. And so you don't have application bloat. You make it much more refined and efficient, and it's just more productive for you out of the gates. A lot of people don't realize just how robust the ecosystem is. As you're building your Java application and you're innovating, someone has already built some sort of tool, library, or framework that you can leverage, so you don't have to start from zero. And through our quality outreach program, we're trying to ensure as many of these are kept modern. The vast fact that beyond just the language and platform, you have this amazing ecosystem of innovation that you can tap into means that's just more productivity opportunities for you out of the gate. And at the very least, listen, if you're not going to participate, not give feedback directly through the OpenJDK project, one of the best things you can do for your organization is to download the early access builds and test them. See what that's doing in your enterprise before you go production ready, or before a WGA specific release of Java. And this gives you a chance just to see what's happening before something becomes final. That's mission critical for you, folks. The fact that you now have early access builds available, and in fact, we're talking about Java 23 already coming up in September. Well, guess what? We already have EA builds for Java 24 that you can start testing before it becomes final in March. Which, by the way, if you're not already doing this, this was said at the top of the hour, both by Sam, our moderator, and our host, Baruch. If you're interested in attending DevOps Morocco, the DevOps Morocco team is making available a free pass. If you use the hashtag DevOps MA, that's Mike Alpha, in the chat, there'll be a drawing at the end to see who has that lucky pass to attend DevOps Morocco, which, by the way, if you've never been there, I highly encourage you to go, whether you win or not. It is truly one of the most community-forward Java conferences that are out there, and it's in Morocco. Why wouldn't you want to go?
Yeah, and looking by the chats in YouTube, everybody are signing up to the Raffle, so which is great. Sharat, we have a question from Anbu. Is the new design of OpenJDK in white and black?
In white and black.
Yes.
Is the new design. I'm not sure I understand the question.
I think the logo probably.
Oh, so we might be seeing a little bit of a broadcast issue. The logo that's appearing on the slide does appear to be having some color issues. The logo is not white and black, so I apologize if there's some issues with the coloring on the broadcast.
Yeah. No, it's definitely orange and blue as the two colors of Java should be.
But gosh, I gotta say, someone has a very keen eye that they're paying attention to even notice that. So thank you. So we were talking about how do we stay connected, all the various modalities that we here have on the Java team in terms of how you can participate, how you can listen, and social is an important dimension of this. I'm going to say Twitter again, but Twitter has become one of the de facto social platforms for the Java ecosystem. And you can follow at Java or at OpenJDK. And you might be saying, well, why do you have two social handles on Twitter for Java? Well, it's important to understand, again, the need to fragment conversations. In some situations, many of you want just a general update on what's happening with the Java community or broader updates on the platform. We handle all of that through @Java, but specific updates to OpenJDK initiatives is done directly through that. And so we want to make sure your feeds are consistent and scoped to your topic interest. And so my encouragement is follow both, and then pay attention to the streams that you're most interested in. I had also mentioned Java user groups. To make this a bit more discoverable, if you follow @Java, we have created a list of at least all of the known Java user groups that are on Twitter that you can then also follow directly as they start pushing out social updates specific to what that user group is organizing, the meetings that they're happening, or the technical conversations that are specific to that location. So you can find this on a list following @Java, or you can just turn to dev.java, our official Java community portal, click on community, and then you can see the entire list of Java user groups that are around the world. And speaking of dev.java, this was launched a few years ago. This is meant to continue to evolve, where we start including learning content and information and community updates So you sort of have this one destination for all things Java from the Java team at Oracle. But separate of that, many wanted to stay specific in terms of how to stay updated on a specific project. And so we also launched inside.java. These should be relatively easy URLs for you to bookmark and follow moving forward, or even remember. Inside.java aggregates all of our written content specific to a specific project that's tagged by the engineers on the Java team, or ecosystem updates from the Java DevRel team as well. And so it depends if you're looking for a broader perspective on what Oracle's Java initiatives are. You can turn to dev.java. But if you want deeper dives into specific projects or initiatives, you can turn to inside.java, and then that is organized for you. And I gotta apologize. I think the stream is breaking some of the line breaks, and the slides are a bit off. So I'm not sure if that's on my end. If it is on my end, I do apologize. And maybe what we can do, Baruch, is after this this session, let's see if we can post the PDF somewhere for everyone who's watching who weren't able to make it, to have just clean content that they can look at on demand.
Yeah, absolutely. We will do it. We will post it in our Slack, of course. But here's a question from John. How can we get added to that list?
So if you're talking about the Java user group list,
yeah.
All you need to do is either contact me on social. Many of you follow me on social. Just drop me a DM. And I will ensure that your user group is added to that. So the Twitter list for Java user groups is for user groups that have a Twitter account. So if you don't have a Twitter account for your user group, that's not the place for you to get listed. If you don't have a Twitter account and you want the world to discover that you exist, we can list you on dev.java. And on dev.java under community, we have a hyperlink to every active Java user group, whether that's on a meetup page or a website, or for that matter, if they have a social account as well. And so there's two options there. And again, we're not expecting every Java user group to have the same level of connection channels, because you all vary, and we want you to stay unique to how you've organized and designed yourself. So hopefully that that helps answer that question. Okay.
Yeah, John said that he's good.
Fantastic. No, I talked a lot about what the Oracle team that's working on Java is doing. So where you can get information from us, but we also want to make sure the voice of the ecosystem is represented. And this has been relatively new, but it's continued to grow. We are now taking community contributions that go through GitHub requests in terms of specific topics that we're looking for. We then evaluate that content from third parties and individuals, as you see many of them listed here. But we want to ensure that your expertise, your perspectives on Java are also reflected in our channels, specifically on dev.java. And so if you turn to dev.java, we have information as far as if you want to have your content published, what the process is in terms of having that evaluated from our team. And this I gotta say, folks, so many of you have such important perspectives and use cases and sample codes. We would love to ensure that as many of you are represented here, again, going through a very strict quality criteria and review, but we want to make sure the ecosystem is reflected in our community efforts. Also new is the Java Playground. This is built into dev.java as well, where you can sample new features to see how they operate before you utilize them. This is useful whether you're new to Java or not. As we release new features in Java, to see how something works before you use it in production, you can use the Java Playground as one of the destinations or platforms to do a little bit of that exploration before you sort of, as they say, use it in anger. But a relatively new feature that we continue to evolve on dev.java. And to be mindful of how to utilize new initiatives, we all have our own preferred methods in terms of IDEs. We also know that there's a very large and growing population of developers that are using VS Code. We have a Java plugin now in the VS Code or the Microsoft Marketplace. A little over 760,000 downloads so far. Our next achievement that we're aiming for is over 1 million. Please keep giving us feedback. We want this to be a first-class citizen in terms of your choices, in terms of Java plugins for VS Code as well. And beyond that, all right, it's a lot of technical stuff and a lot of social stuff, but where do I hear the voice of the community? We continue to record podcasts as well, which reflect expertise not just from the Java team, but from the community as well. And so this is another place where your voice can be surfaced and shared with the global footprint of Java developers. Learning. This never stops. So we all have our own mechanism in terms of learning, but if you're new to Java, we have an Explorer program through Oracle University to sort of start gearing you up for taking the Java certification. This Explorer program is completely free. You can go to Oracle University, take this Explorer path to eventually get your badge, which you can use on social, which will then give you the skills necessary to start thinking about whether you want to take the certification test or not. And then one of our most growing assets is our official YouTube channel for Java. We've done a lot of refinement in terms of our playlists, the content that is surfaced there in terms of technical content. We just completed an event called the JVM Language Summit just a couple of weeks ago. The recordings from that continue to be hosted here as well on its own dedicated playlist. But our goal here is, again, to reflect the technical expertise coming from the Java DevRel team, our engineers, but also start building out community recordings as well to make sure your video voice is captured through our official Java YouTube channel. Last but not least, and I know this might be a bit of a, how do I put this? This works for me. I am voracious in terms of newsletters. I can't tell you how many newsletters I subscribe to. We continue to publish a Java newsletter monthly that gives you a digest of all of the updates that happen and are executed and delivered through all of those other modalities that I just covered, but in digest form that shows up in your inbox. And we would love for you to continue to subscribe to this, give us feedback in terms of how we can evolve this newsletter format. Dare I say, I even get printed newsletters. Don't tell the rest of the world that. But there's something visceral about a newsletter for me that I can read on my own time, digest at my own pace, and then go do a deeper dive in terms of where to find further information. And so, last but not least, it would be shameful for me not to give a plug for JavaOne. You might have seen the announcement that went out back in March of 2024 when we announced to save the date. But I think it's important to let the world know we are bringing back JavaOne in 2025 in March. Please keep up to date at JavaOne.com. We've already launched the call for papers, which closes on October 10th. So I know it's August 21st, and you're probably thinking, I got a lot of time. Sure, you do. But keep in mind, the deadline is October 10th. And once you go to JavaOne.com, click on the CFP link. It'll give you all of the information in terms of the tracks, the fields necessary, the topics that we're looking for, and then we will try to make selection decisions shortly thereafter. But we would love to see you there as a speaker, as an attendee, as a sponsor. JavaOne is coming back, and we want to do this in partnership with the Java community. And with that, Baruch, I covered a ton of information in terms of resources and why the community matters and how their voice can be heard, either participating in OpenJDK, participating in user groups, digesting all of our content that we have out there. And as you saw, the number of channels and streams and programs we have are wide and deep. They need to be, because we have such a large collection of developers that have their own ways of staying connected. But I like to close right there.
Yeah, so Sharat, thank you for that. That was really a lot of information. Eric had a question about tooling.
So so there are multiple vendors that have a Java plugin. As the stewards of Java, we want to make sure we are at least considered in terms of a Java plugin on VS Code. We continue to refine this and modify it, but the choice is yours. We believe our plugin is best in class because it's being built by the actual team who is releasing Java regularly. Not only that, but our builds for our Java plugin for VS Code also work with early access builds. So Java 23 EA is something that you can take advantage of through this plugin as well.
Yep, that makes perfect sense. So yeah, absolutely. I mean, when it comes to official tooling versus unofficial tooling, in the end of the day, with everything else equals, go with the official one. So that makes sense.
I have a question for you, Baruch, because what's so great about individuals like you and your peers is not only do you host activities like this, you're participating in local meetups, but you also get to travel the world. And I'm just curious from your perspective, because I see a lot of questions here and participation. What's the vibe you're feeling around Java? Because, I mentioned 30 years. To me, it doesn't seem like a long time. I think we have another 30 years plus to go. But in general, what are you experiencing, feeling, and seeing?
Yeah, no, that's a great question, because there is, 30 years. It's not an insignificant amount of time, and we can pretend that we are young and what's not, but the color of our hair kind of gives it away.
Wait. I purposely dye mine white.
All right, let's go. Let's stick with that. But yeah, no, 30 years, it's a long time. And I hear here and there, especially when we interact with like younger communities out there, Rust, or even cloud native, that hey, Java is passé, it's too old, it's too enterprise, it's all legacy, it's COBOL, and all those kinds of weird kind of claims and sentiments. And I want to attest to the opposite from my experience with the community and the Nashville Java user group. That, by the way, if you are in the area, I didn't see anyone saying that they are from Tennessee, but maybe. So please join. We have a lot of students. We have a lot of beginners that really getting into the industry with Java. And I might be biased here, but I think Java is definitely one of the first languages that's worth learning because of, how should I say, how well it is planned and managed and stewarded, right? And we can talk about, maybe we should talk about a little bit more in detail how features added to Java, and what's most interesting is how they are not, and how some of the features that look so sleek and sexy and nice are not being added because it will hinder the cohesion and the vision and the future development and all this kind of stuff. And this gives Java this very solid roots or very solid foundation, that learning it as a first language has so much benefits comparing to other languages that might be hype and new and sexy and shiny. But in the end of the day, it's all about bunch of decisions which don't make the language the best programming language out there.
Yeah, and that's, you bring up a good point, which is it's about thoughtful evolution. Like we think sometimes, and this is more of a broad comment, that revolutions are good. Like the notion of a big bang, it's exciting, it's impactful, but it's also in some ways harmful. And we want to do, in some ways, thoughtful evolution. While it might not be attractive, it's also, in the end of the day, more helpful. And so every design decision that goes into Java that's done through the OpenJDK project takes in feedback from a large constituency, from the ecosystem, from the community, from experts. And so when you inject any new feature into any new language, that's going to have a certain amount of long-term shelf life. And we want to make sure every new feature that we have in Java has much utility, not just today, but for tomorrow. And so that's where that whole concept of last leader advantage comes in, which is we have such a large ecosystem to get feedback from that we don't have to be abrasive. It's okay to point the tip of your ship to the new shiny thing, but you want to do that in a way that's not going to create a lot of friction and detriment. And so I would encourage everyone to take a look at the OpenJDK guide that I had mentioned, because it literally goes into what Baruch just mentioned, which is how we develop a JDK enhancement proposal. How do we go through the evaluation? How are bugs filed? How do I participate in the process? If I want to be a committer or an author, what are all of those roles? That guide is basically an evolving blueprint for all of you to understand how this relationship occurs between not just the Java team, but the ecosystem as well.
Exactly. And here's one example how not to submit feature requests to Java, probably not in this chat. Although based on literals, I think it's a great idea, but this is definitely not the right channel to do that. Java community process is, and as you mentioned, everybody are welcome to participate. Speaking about features that might seem like a great idea to begin with, but maybe not, Dan is talking about a rework of Spring templates. For those who doesn't familiar with this particular story, it's a fascinating one because it goes directly into, we spoke about how to evolve the language responsibly. Do you want to tell it? I think it highlights why Java is still the leader after 30 years and how responsible evolution is.
Yes. I think Dan's question is a fantastic demonstration of how successful the OpenJDK project is. Again, we believe we know what are many of the right things to do in terms of how to evolve Java and where to focus our work, but we can't do that in isolation. And with string templates, there was, based on the feedback from end users, there was definitely what we would call challenges with the language syntax that we were developing around this. And it just did not make sense, because if we continued down this path, it would not meet user needs. And so we need to rethink that. We need to rethink that thoughtfully in a way that it does meet all of the necessary criteria of the broader ecosystem. And so it is being removed it's no longer a preview. And now the rework begins. We have to evaluate that feedback because if work had, and this is purely speculative, if we had moved forward and put in something, a new feature that doesn't provide you benefit, we've now just created bloat in the JDK releases that we've offered you, and we don't want things that are not useful to be in there. And so the fact that you are able, Baruch, and the ecosystem at large gave us feedback on string templates are things we took very seriously. This was not the time to introduce this. Rework needs to happen, and that rework is happening. And when there's progress, we'll be able to demonstrate that. But think about this. Prior to Java 9, you never had that chance. You never had that opportunity to participate. You never had that the ability to test early access builds or play with preview features by turning the flag on and seeing what it would do. You were just stuck with features. And we don't want that. We don't.
And there is a fine balance to be struck between, hey, we want to hear from you and what features do you need, and what is really right from a language architecture and language design. And I don't know another language that has this balance as fine-tuned as Java, with Java community process from one side, and then language architects and the core team from the other, And this balance is exactly, and Spring templates is the
Yeah.
example of how this balance works out to the benefit of everybody. We want features that developers need. We want them added in the right way, so it won't become a liability, something that we will have to deprecate, remove, just say, hey, don't use it, thread.stop or something like that in the future, right? And yes, in the beginning, mistakes were made. There were features that we all kind of suffer until now from that. Unsafe, right? Removal of unsafe, and this kind of stuff that we don't want to repeat. And this is why the language core team is moving slowly with adding new features, so they won't.
I would flip that and say we're moving thoughtfully, not slowly. So it's with great thought that we are evolving the platform, and that's what's the beauty of the OpenJDK project is that level of thoughtfulness. And then the JCP, in terms of the specification to ensure that all Java builds are consistent, is another dimension of the storyline as well, which I'm glad you brought up. But at the end of the day, at its roots, Java has been a participatory technology going back to 30 years. If it wasn't for that notion of community involvement, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. It was literally the community that put me on this path in terms of this role, and many of us on the team that put us on this role. And it's extremely important. What I would say is this: if you want to really understand how some of those architectural decisions are being made, if you are not reading what's posted at openjdk.org, please go look at some of the recordings from our JVM Language Summit. So just to give you a highlight, some of you know what the summit's about, but the JVM Language Summit is a yearly activity that we've been doing now for almost 14 years, where some of the premier language architects around the world on various languages, inclusive of Java, come and speak and talk about how do we continue to evolve the platform to be as embraceable as possible. Mark Reinhold, who is the Java architect, and Brian Getz, who is the Java language architect, have sessions from this year and previous years that really get into the science of how JDK enhancement proposals are done. And they do a much better job articulating that science than I ever can. So I would encourage you to go to youtube.com/Java and look at our JVM Language Summit recordings, either from this year or previous years. It will open your eyes to just how much opportunity there is for Java, not just for today, but for the next 30 years and beyond.
Absolutely. And speaking exactly about that, there is a comment about how Brian Getz said that sometimes my job is to tell people why we are not going to add this feature. And this is so on point. I don't know other language, maybe there is, when there is like a really language architects that their entire job is to think about what needed to be added and not less important what is not.
Yeah, and this is also a demonstration of just how open and transparent our development process is. The fact that we have a language architect like Brian, who is visible, who articulates a lot of the progress and innovation, versus it being pushed out in a memo. You actually can see all of this authoring and all of this conversation on the various projects that are being where the innovation is happening at OpenJDK.
So yeah, bringing it all to the original point that I was trying to make is that this makes Java very thoughtful, robust, well-architectured language, much more than others, maybe even hypier and sexier and newer and what's not. And this is what ensures, first, that Java will be the primary language to go to when people are coming to our industry, because how well architected.
I'm also very thoughtful that choice matters. We all have this appreciation and respect for what Java offers. But for many of you, you live in polyglot environments. I think I've never been shy to say, pick the tool or the language that meets what your needs are. I believe Java solves most of the opportunities and challenges that you are facing. But, one of the beauties of our Java ecosystem is we don't look down at other languages. We look at that as an opportunity to learn from others. And that's why the JVM Language Summit is so important, is because we allow other leaders in other languages to come and express what is happening. And so it goes back to our earlier comment and, offline conversations you and I, Baruch, have had, which is we want to grow the circle. We want Java to be inclusive, not exclusive. And that, to me, is an ethos, is a heartbeat of what Java is about. It's about ensuring that there's enough participation and opportunity for everyone.
Speaking about participation and opportunity, and you obviously mentioned all the Java user groups and the communities around it. I personally have always been excited about Java conferences, just because this is where we meet people and we hang around and see each other. And you mentioned JavaOne, which is, I cannot tell you how excited I am that JavaOne is back.
I see it.
One?
I see it.
Do you remember the year?
I'm trying to remember. So you're putting me on the spot in terms of trying to remember the year. So I can probably throw a dart at a dartboard and get it right. But I'm going to say 2008.
Yep, 9. Yep.
2009. Okay, I was off by a year. So.
Yep. So still here. And I hope to get another one this year, next year. But yeah, no, JavaOne is back, and those are great news. But there are a lot of community conferences almost all over.
I'm so glad you said that, because I believe JavaOne is something that helps other Java conferences become better. And we are so lucky in our ecosystem to have such a large catalog of conferences across the globe that we can show up at in person or sometimes participate online. But that's just a reflection of just how pervasive Java is. And I have my preferences, but every Java conference out there, I think, is something everyone should experience, whether it's JFocus in Sweden, Java Zone coming up in Oslo, Norway, JFall in the Netherlands, DevOps Morocco very shortly, DevOps UK, DevOps Poland, DevOps Belgium, the entire DevOps series, DevNexus in Atlanta, the developer conference in Brazil, JCCon in Taiwan, the great International Developer Conference in India. Although it may not say Java, they have an entirely dedicated Java day for Java content. I mean, the footprint and landscape of Java conferences is wide and deep, and there are choices we can all turn to. Which, by the way, if you are a Java event organizer on dev.java, we list third-party Java events. So if your event is not listed there, again, reach out to me. We'll make sure your conference is represented in our catalog, so we can tell the entire Java world that your conference is there and is important.
Dev.next in Colorado. That is coming.
How can we forget Dev2 Next? So Dev2 Next. Some of you, I'm sure most of you know Venkat Subramaniam, a longtime Java expert, luminary, teacher, educator, author. I mean, the accolades just go on and on and on. But he is hosting an inaugural event coming up here in September called Dev2 Next. It has a dedicated Java track within it. If you are interested in that event, I think there's a $50 discount code that expires in 10 days. So start registering now. And by the way, we also have a net new conference, jcon.dev in Dallas, Texas.
Yes, and that's by the organizers of DevNexus.
Yes,
guarantees a great show.
Yep.
And JDev, they do it every year, I think, in different locations. This year is in Texas. And yeah, I bring John's excitement that we mentioned JFall, because the CFP for JFall is still open.
Can you believe? Yeah, we have how many more days? We have, I think, 9 more days until
the end of the month. Yeah. So if any of you want not only go to a conference, participate in networking, and hear the great speakers giving their amazing talks, but also try to be a speaker. It's a great opportunity. It's an amazing conference. I'm submitting every year and still hoping that one day I will get accepted. But you know what? We might get more lucky or have better content.
I will say this. So there's just an extraordinary catalog of Java conferences out there. Please, at some point, if you have the opportunity to attend a conference, whether you have to travel, across continents, across oceans, or it's local, the face-to-face experience is going to enrich your understanding of the value of Java. And so, as great as all of the online technical content is, to really be part of something, you have to be in person. So it asks for all of you to consider that. For those that can make JFall, I've said this before, it is the best 3-day conference that happens in one day. And if you think that's hyperbole, if you have not attended JFall, it is a single-day conference that you will walk out of the door going, how did they fit that much information in one day to immerse me into the world of Java? It is, I can't explain how they do it. They are magicians. The Netherlands Java user group that hosts this annually are just spectacular in terms of what they do. I encourage you to try to attend that if you possibly can as well. But I mean, we could spend hours on every single Java conference that's out there, and we should. They all have their own important sort of story and theme and ethos, and someone just mentioned Java Zone. That's coming up very soon in Oslo. As much as these conferences might be viewed as regional, they're all international. We've gotten to the point where all of these events that may happen in certain cities is now attracting international speakers, international attendees, and is helping bring us all together in that face-to-face format. So absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. And the combination of online resources and online events, which is obviously very, very accessible, and we have to admit it, much more inclusive than going physically to a conference that might not be possible for various reasons. But the in-person events worth the extra mile that you need to go to, literally sometimes more than a mile.
Because I'm going to plug JavaOne again. So again, March 17th through March 20th, 2025. Please bookmark JavaOne.com. Get your submissions in for the CFP. Deadline is October 10th at 5 p.m. Pacific time. Please make our jobs challenging in terms of what to select this year. And if you're not up for speaking, we would love to see you attend JavaOne in person this year.
Yeah, and obviously we both will be there. We will be more than happy to see you all, give you a hug or a handshake or elbow bump or whatever you are doing, or just wave at you. And it will be an absolutely awesome event. Yes.
So I think I want to reinforce hashtag DevOxMA, Michael Apple, hashtag DevOxMA. Oh, there we go. Hey, look, we see a slide. I see a slide. Awesome. Sam is back.
You are on mute, Sam, and that it's online session. So it has to happen.
I had to mute, otherwise it wouldn't show that it was real.
Exactly.
Nothing's being recorded here. But yeah, wow. Thank you so much, both of you. What an epic session. Barak, I really, we've had some amazing hosts on the VJUG and all the events we've done in the past, but you definitely have a very special way with being an amazing host. So
thank you. Happy to join anytime you need a host and no one else shows up.
Don't say that. I'll have you on every single week or month. So for those of you who love the session, want to keep doing stuff with us at VJUG, our next session is on the 18th of September. So you can go to virtualjug.com to find out all the details, but we'll be joined by Victor Rentier. my dyslexic brain can't pronounce things. But he is actually a Java champion, as well as a trainer and consultant, and he'll be joining us on the 18th of September. So if you enjoyed this, please, 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 we'll see you then. And then we've also got Alina coming up. And for those of you who are going to try out the new Dev2 Next conference, we actually have maybe a surprise Venkat in before the end of the year. So definitely do the in-person events, definitely do the conferences, join your local meetup, and then come along here and share amazing content and things.
And Sam, we can see you at DevOps UK and one of the organizers. And that's just wanted to say thank you again. It's a great show. I had a great time this year. So looking forward for the next one. You all should.
Amazing. No problem at all. Well, without further ado, should we do the draw? So let me share my screen. So for all of you,
didn't you already tell me I won?
Lol, that's not how it works.
You go to DevOps Morocco anyway. So
okay. So I saw a lot of you doing multiple entries. Very cool, but unfortunately they don't count. But thank you for trying. Oh, I'm zooming on the wrong screen here, so that's fun. But if your name comes up when I draw it, please pop a hello in the comments below so that we know that you're here. In order to win this prize, you have to still be on the live stream. So congratulations to everyone that has stayed to wait to see. I'll give you a few minutes because the joys of the internet is that there is a little bit of a lag between me saying something and you commenting, and we'll just kind of roll the draw until we find a winner. But without further ado, drum roll, please. Let's see who has won today's. Hey! If that is you, please say hi on the chat so we know that you are here.
Okay, now is the suspense. Now is the suspense.
Now we wait and see. I have managed to zoom my screen so weirdly, I don't even know what buttons to push anymore. Are you here?
Oh, he's here!
Yay! Congratulations! You have won yourself a ticket to DevOps Morocco. All you have to do to redeem is I'm about to pop a message in the Slack community and live sessions. And all you need to do is DM me and I'll send you all the details on how to claim your prize. But congratulations. If anyone else would like to give us anything cool to raffle off in the future, we'd love to have more things to give our community. So if you want to pop a message to me either on Slack or you can email virtualjug@gmail.com.
You can raffle off my Duke if anyone wants a Duke.
A Duke stuffy. I'll just have that. Thank you very much.
Okay. I'll send it to you and you can decide what to do with it.
Sam, I'll be happy to send a bunch of books your way to raffle them out.
Amazing. Thank you so much. We have books, we have a Duke. And for everyone else, there's definitely not a scam. I promise.
Not a scam. No, the books are real.
We will hopefully see all of you at the next event. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much to our amazing speaker and hosts. And hopefully we'll see you in person or at the next VJUG event on the 18th of September. But thank you,
Sam. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Baruch.
Thank you all.
Thank you, everyone. I'm going to push a little. There we go.